I don't have the final printed because I was.
So you got remedied or rectified?
Well,
Town meeting?
I've been.
Yeah.
No, it's. And then I look at the.
Yeah, it was on the combined committee meeting agenda.
Oh, mine.
Yeah.
Cost of materials, you know, I was in the randomly.
We're gonna get started in just a moment.
Well, it's not like, thank you for the choir.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this Village of Hebron Council meeting to order at 6 p.m. on Wednesday. It is October 23rd, 2024. If you would please stand as you're able and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Here.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer,
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you, visitors, for attending this evening. If you've not already done so, please sign in and get a copy of the agenda. There will be opportunities to speak at 2 points in the agenda labeled visitor comments. The first item of order is the approval of minutes. Sorry. Nope, that's not true. The next item is about meeting documentation. Minutes will be recorded and provided to council for review. Meeting minutes are official once they are approved by village council by a majority vote. Today's minutes will be made available once approved and posted in the post office, this office, and made available online. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes, and I'm seeking a motion for approval of minutes for September 25th, 2024, the public hearing. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Stoner and a second from Council Member Porter. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Nauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. I'm now seeking a motion for approval of minutes for September 25th, 2024, the council meeting.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Stoner. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Stoner.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. The next item on the agenda is the department head report, and we will be hearing from Director Meisner.
Good evening, everyone. You should have received my report in your packet. Feel free to interrupt me with any questions that you might have. So first on the list is we have started the design guidebook survey. So I hope that you've seen this survey. It's been shared in the newsletter, on our Facebook page, on our website, and in several different public locations, including this office and the library. This survey is really to start shaping the work that we're going to be doing with the design guidebook. And as a reminder, this design guidebook is really what we will adopt and share with developers when they're coming into the village and that they're considering either doing upgrades to existing buildings or building new buildings, whether it's residential or commercial. And this is to be shaped by council, but also by community feedback. So far, MORPC has shared some of the feedback with us, and we've had over 50 participants on the survey. And it goes anywhere from discussing the different facades that you want to see on the buildings to what outdoor eating accommodations could look like in the village, to answering more questions about zoning and code enforcement. So I'm hoping not only will this survey be informative for this, but also for a lot of the other work that we're going to be doing in 2025, and hopefully just good information for you to have as council as you're doing the work that you're doing. We are welcoming some local employers in November to visit the municipal complex, and we're calling it Coffee, Donuts, and Transit. As you're aware, Transit is considering making Hebron one of the stops along their fixed routes. And so during this process, we are hoping to receive feedback from the employers about what their needs might be as it relates to workforce and how they might want to contribute to this project. So I look forward to sharing that information with you.
Are you talking local employers in town or like we include industrial parks?
So I did just reach out to Paula with Union Township to ask about the inclusion of any of the manufacturers that are in Union Township and not in the village of Hebron. And she is comfortable with us extending that invitation. And my hope is that she's going to be attending representing Union Township. So
Do you know when that is?
in November, I think it's
Sometime.
November 21st off the top of my head. I apologize. We just scheduled it, but I'll definitely share that with you. And then we have been doing the community newsletter for now officially 10 months. We've started off doing that every other month, but due to really positive feedback and quite frankly, just a lot of information that we need to share with residents and community, we've now moved that to a once-a-month publication. We have almost 500 subscribers to the newsletter, which I'm really happy with. And then this last newsletter that just went out on Monday, we've had an open rate of around 60%, which I know at first you're probably like, oh, that's not great, but it's actually really great when it comes to open rates on something that's consistent like this, hoping that we continue to increase engagement and that open rate just goes up instead of down. I do want to offer up if there's ever any information community-wise, things that you're seeing even just county-wide or regionally that you think is important for us to share in that newsletter, don't hesitate to send that my way. We've continued to do the monthly stakeholder discussions. The last one that we did is we met with our commercial landlords and just soliciting feedback, providing them an update about the village. Our next few that you'll see is we are going to be engaging not only senior residents in the community, but senior services. And then due to a recent conversation, we're looking at doing a veterans stakeholder meeting soon as well. The business retention and expansion visits are going well. We've met with Lear, Sunfield, and Harry and David. I'm hoping before the end of the year, we can at least fit in 2 more visits and then of course continue them throughout 2025. Code enforcement, we have 54 current open cases and continue to work through those. We've issued 94 permits so far for the year. From a training perspective, both Caitlin and I have been trying to take advantage of all the different training and professional development that we can. So in early September, we did attend the Ohio Economic Development Association Summit in Toledo, which was extremely informative. Very excited to continue to see how we can leverage that group. About 2 Fridays ago, we attended the Ohio APA, the American Planning Association zoning workshop, which again was very informative. And then currently, actually just today, and we'll be traveling back tonight, attending the Ohio Municipal League Annual Conference. I do want to say thank you for the opportunity to have the intern this summer through the MORPC program. We didn't know what that would look like. I know it's our first time exploring those opportunities, but I can tell you it was a huge help to my department. And then the things or the items that we were able to get from her as it relates to our community profile, updates on some of our documents, just a lot of great work came from having her spend the summer with us and really looking forward to doing that program again. And then 2025 is really just going to be focused on improving processes and efficiency in the department. So really hoping by 2025, we're going to have some electronic options when it comes to submitting our permits and just improving those things. So for the ease of our residents. I do want to say that Caitlin is doing a fantastic job and she's been a great addition to the department and making great strides. So very grateful for the work that she's done. And then I don't want to forget to make sure I do a public thank you to Charlie Klein. You probably have seen as you've come in the great Santa box that sits in the lobby. It was an idea that we wanted to have that in Village Center for the kids and residents of our community to participate and drop off their Santa letters. I did a Facebook post saying, hey, this is what we're looking for. And he was kind enough to make that from literally a plain sheet of metal. So that beautiful box and donate it to the village completely. So very, very grateful for that. You'll see on the report that we've had several new business occupancies, a total of 4, which is always a great sign that people are wanting to do business in the village and come here and invest. So we've had Earthy Doodads. We've had, I never pronounce it right, but he calls it the Mate Lab, which makes it a lot easier for me. A learning center where we just had a ribbon cutting. They're doing a lot of great improvements to the building that used to be the Refresh Dental there. Desserts Bakery, which my understanding has been a hit in the village and they sell out very often. And then the new one that's not officially open, but they do have their occupancy is Buckeye Lake Armory. So that has been previously operational in the village, but a new owner has taken that over. And we'll be making some improvements to that facility. And then below are all of the developments that we have, current active developments. The only new one that you have not heard of until now is Community Bank, which is going to be on East Main Street. That will be right beside the Lancer Car Wash. So that will go in front of the Planning and Zoning Board on November 4th. And then there's some upcoming events. We are kicking off the Comprehensive Plan Implementation Committee. I will be excited to share the results of that. Our first Halloween bash after Baker's Night. We do have an economic development committee that's not on your agenda, but I will make sure all the notices have been publicized. That will be right before the planning and zoning meeting at 5 p.m. on the 4th. And then our Christmas market and memorial tree lighting, which is, we are in full planning mode right now, and it is going to be an amazing day. So I hope you will join us and share with your neighbors and friends. That will take place on December 7th. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. She's not busy at all. Okay,
I do have one question.
please.
Sorry. The code enforcement, can there be a list provided to council?
Yes, I'm happy to email that to you. We do provide that to the planning and zoning board at every meeting and an update on that. So it's just a simple spreadsheet that I will be happy to send over to you. And if you have any questions, just reach out.
Thank you. Okay, we have this time reserved on the agenda to hear comments from visitors regarding topics not listed on the agenda. Please be sure to state your name and address for the record. There's a 5-minute time limit per speaker. We're very eager to hear what you have to say, so please speak loudly and clearly into the microphone. Thank you. Please. Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brooke Billman. I am not a resident here in Licking County, but I am here from the State Treasurer's Office. I just wanted to bring some good news over our newest program, Ohio Homebuyer Plus. This is a program that is dedicated to any Ohioans 18 years or older who are looking to save money for a primary home. So our program launched in January of this year, and as of last week, we crossed over 20,000 accounts opened up here in Ohio for the savings program. So I just wanted to bring those updates to you guys and let you know that information is available on our website. And if you know anyone in your life or anyone here in Licking County that is in need of a primary home, they can go to their local financial institution or credit union. We do have roughly 100 right now across the state of Ohio that are offering this program. It takes about 30 minutes to open it up. As long as you're 18 years or older and a resident of the state of Ohio, then you are eligible for this program. Some commonly asked questions: does this have to be your first house? No, it just has to be your primary home. So if you currently live in a home and are looking to move in the next couple of years, you yourselves would be eligible for this program. Thank you.
We don't want anyone to move though, so at least not out of the village. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or can you name that program's name again?
Ohio Homebuyer Plus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda. I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session to confer with an attorney for the public body concerning disputes involving the public body that are the subject of pending or imminent court action pursuant to ORC 121-22 G3.
So moved. Second.
Thank you, Council President Wolf, and a second from Council Member Carpenter. Roll call, please.
6:16 p.m. Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the probably.
I can do that.
No, I didn't.
Probably not a big, property.
We have on the, in front of them. I'm gonna try.
I'm looking for a motion to come back into session at 6:35.
I so move.
Second.
Motion from Councilmember Porter, second from Councilmember Carpenter. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mr. Cameron.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner,
Yes.
Mr. Clifford.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item is the legislation that we have in front of us. The first one is ordinance 2924. It's an ordinance amending the codified code section of Title IX, Section 9655, titled Village Parks, third reading. Looking for a motion to adopt ordinance 2924.
So we moved on the adoption of ordinance 2924.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member, why do I do this, chap? Just gotta duct tape this over there or something, sorry. I want to call people by their first names, but I don't want to do that, I'm sorry. So I have those motions any discussion? Thank you, Council. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. It passes. The next item is ordinance 3024. It's an ordinance to include a new subsection in the codified code section of Title IX, Title 9A, Section 945, titled Storm Water Utilities, second reading. Next item is Resolution 2414, a resolution setting the base rate for the Stormwater Utility Ordinance Code as codified in Section 945 of the Village of Hebron Codified Code section. That's a second reading. The next item is Ordinance 3224, an ordinance to make appropriations for fiscal year 2025 expenses and other expenditures for the Village of Hebron, State of Ohio, during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. That's the first reading.
Is there an expiration when you need to have that in? Okay.
I'd say by the beginning of December.
So as long as we do the 2 in November, you're still feeling comfortable with that?
And still.
Thank you.
I'd make a motion. For the ordinance.
I don't think that you feel, I think we're okay without pressing it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your willingness. Ordinance 3324, an ordinance to authorize the employment and appointment of legal counsel for the Village of Hebron, first reading.
This is just a renewal contract between the village and our solicitor.
Thank you. Resolution 2415, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the Village of Hebron to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement for the South High Street Waterline Replacement Project to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency. That's the first reading. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, the deadline for the OPWC's state capital program is November 1st. That's why we're asking for your emergency consideration. The purpose of this legislation is really to replace the existing water line on South High Street that was contemplated last year, but somehow we were not able to get it accomplished. We sort of switched the funding to do the water line on Broadway, Sugar, and those kind of things. That's why we're asking this to go to the OPWC to see if we can get either zero interest loan or some kind of grant and loan combination.
And so the reason that we're asking for the emergency is if we want to get this type of financial relief of either 0% interest or securing some type of grant funding, we have to get it in right away.
Yes,
So I am looking for a motion to adopt.
Mayor,
No, we have to go through the.
motion to suspend.
Suspend the rules.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend the readings on this.
On resolution 2415.
2415 residents,
Thank you.
resolution 2415.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Nauer. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stoner,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
It passes. Thank you, Council. And now I'm seeking a motion to adopt Resolution 2415.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Nauer and a second from Council Member Porter. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner,
Yes.
Mrs. Porter,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. The next item is Resolution 2416. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor of the village of Hebron to prepare and submit an application to participate in the Ohio Public Works Commission State Capital Improvement for the extension of water and wastewater sanitary to the Port Authority site on Beaver Run Road to execute contracts as required and declaring an emergency. This is the first reading.
yes, and this is the same funding source that we're applying sending the application to the OPWC. Again, the deadline is November 1st. The application itself is seeking funding to extend the water and sanitary to the Port Authority site on Beaver Run Road.
So these are just to apply.
And just to
So if
apply.
we don't get the grant or don't get the loan, then we don't do it.
We don't, no, we don't have the funding for it. That's why we're asking for the outside source funding to help us to get to that point. Yeah.
Again, I ask, is this in conjunction with the city of Heath? Because that's going to be on the north end of us.
No, it will stop at the south side of the Beaver Run Road. That's within the village of Hebron.
Then we know that as a fact.
Yes, because we have to apply for the property within the village.
I would like to protect our investment and our property and subsequent buildings. I don't care for having somebody breathing down my shoulder.
Understand?
And I think that has earmarks of that possibility.
And the other part is that in our comp plan, we're looking at the second industrial park along the Beaver Run Road, and we need to have the utility ready if we are going to accomplish that. And that's the whole purpose, having this kind of extension. Hopefully we can get the outside funding source to help us get to that point.
Would you like to speak to this?
Administrator Chen said it perfectly, that it allows for the opportunity for us to expand that potential of the second industrial park. And I understand your concerns about Heath, but this, actually, the way that I see it is this will allow us to be more competitive with Heath and ensure that they aren't coming directly up to our boundaries and that we can continue to expand and leverage some of those opportunities for industrial growth, and that they're not the only choice for that development on that side of the village or that side of the county. I think it'll be a positive thing overall for growth and for proactive development.
So I am seeking a motion to suspend the
So moved.
readings. Okay.
I'll second.
I have a motion, I'm sorry, I have a motion from Councilmember Carpenter and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Leonard.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes.
Mrs. Clayton. Yes.
Yes.
Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Now I'm seeking a motion to adopt Resolution 2416.
So moved.
I'll second. I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Chapman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Mr. Leonard.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
It passes. Thank you, Council. The next item I have is Resolution 2417. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement with the Licking County Board of Commissioners for Indigent Defense Services in the Municipal Court for the Village of Hebron, Licking County, Ohio, first reading.
Is there a date on that?
And we have to do it by the end of the year. So I think we're in good shape. Thank you. Then the last item, which is not on this agenda, but it is at your station. It's Resolution 2418. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Stantec Consulting Services Incorporated for the design and extension of Canyon Road and declaring an emergency. And we are seeking a motion to suspend the rules, correct? You have one?
Allow me to talk to you about this. This is part of the Microsoft project. They are providing all the funding for the design, but they want this project design moving forward right away. We had this item on the combined committee meeting.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't get carried it over. But because the timing issue, we have to move this forward. Microsoft is paying the entire design fee. So the city is not putting any bill. Because eventually Microsoft is also going to consider helping the construction of the roadway as well. Because they have a short timeline, they want to get the design complete. So their side work will coincide with this as well.
So once we okay it, they'll take care of it from there. They want their own
Actually, we got to
design.
check already.
But do we use our design, our engineers or?
No, if we went out to bid, Stantec
Oh, okay.
is the one that submitted proposal and we have worked with them to develop the cost factors.
Okay.
Yes. So not the village engineer is gonna do that. No, it'll be Stantec design the project.
The agenda I got here, you got it down as resolution 2415. That's not right, is it?
That was on the combined committee, since we have the new agenda, so the resolution number is 2418.
18.
Yes.
Okay.
And the total amount is going to be $1,112,265.
Which is being covered by Microsoft.
We have gotten the check already.
CFO had it last week, I think. We all took a gander at it.
And again, I apologize for this messed up because it's supposed to be on this agenda because it shows up at the combined committee agenda. I thought we could have easily carried over, but somehow it wasn't there.
They make a motion that we suspend the readings on resolution 2418.
Second. So we have a motion to suspend from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Stoner. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Leonard.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. It passes. And now I'm seeking a motion to adopt Resolution 2418.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council Member Nauer and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Thank you, council, that passes.
Thank you. Fiscal officer.
Yes, please.
As the mayor mentioned, we did receive a check from Microsoft for this. However, I do not have the funds appropriated, so I'm gonna need to appropriate that amount of money. So I will need a motion from council to direct an appropriation amendment so that I can make these funds available. The money's already been deposited, but I do have to have it appropriated. So I would like to request a motion for me to be able to appropriate those funds.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to appropriate from Council President Wolf and a second from Council. Go ahead.
Directing us to draft legislation for the appropriation.
Oh, okay. We need a draft legislation, so she can spend money.
And do I still have a second?
Yes.
Thank you. So I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Carpenter. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Thank you, council. The next item we have is the council action items. And the first item that I am seeking a motion to acknowledge receipt and review of the September 2024 bank reconciliation.
So moved.
I'll second. I have a motion from Councilmember Nauer and a second from Councilmember Chapman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Thank you, council. The next item is, for council action items is discussion of the 2025 payroll increase. And just to get us all on the same page, we had talked about this a little earlier, but we wanted this to be paced behind the agenda item, or I'm sorry, the legislation related to our appropriations for the 2025 budget. The other thing I will say is if this were an election year for council, I probably would have pressed for us to wait a little bit so that if there were new voices, we would hear those in this discussion. But as we're not anticipating any changes from the council composition, I do think it's appropriate that we could continue this discussion in a more advanced timeframe so that our team is able to respond to it in an appropriate amount of time with regard to payroll instead of rushing to get it all done last minute. So having said that, if council so desires to make a motion to have legislation drawn up for this, I think you would need to specify what that increase is, so what council would approve. And CFO Morgan, would you be willing to talk just a little bit about how your appropriation is set up and what we've discussed in the financial committee? Thank you.
Well, when the budget was prepared, we did budget a 3% increase across the board for all departments, for all the employees. And that is in the proposed budget that is up for your readings. And we were able to put those figures in and make the budget work very comfortably. So again, just because the budget passes doesn't mean that the raise goes through unless you pass legislation to do so. So that's what this would be. So we do have 3% in the current budget for 25.
It would be my motion to draft the legislation for the 3% out of the total budget that she mentioned.
That it makes that effective the first payroll of 25.
I would say the first full pay period.
Yes, okay.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Carpenter and a second from Council President Wolf. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Leonard?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes. Thank you, council. The next item is a stormwater operation and maintenance agreement. Would you like to speak to that? Would you like to speak to that? Sorry, thanks.
So this is related to a development, National Church Residency. So based on their location, they butt up directly to the township, and then of course they are on Route 79. So there's been a lot of dialogue while we were working through the plans and issuing permits about who's responsible for the stormwater. We were not interested in being responsible for it. We want the property owner to be responsible for it, the maintenance side of their property. And ODOT had no interest in being responsible for it. So that required that we have an agreement and we have it documented appropriately. So this is just kind of one of the final processes to close up their development and move forward, and showing that they're responsible for this maintenance.
Thank you.
I had a question about that earlier. And that is, it never specifies who's the owner is, it just says owner. I feel it would be important to address who the owner is. Because to me, when I was reading this, I did not know who owner was.
We can definitely have National Church Residency listed on there, and of course, once they execute the contract as the owner, and we have the appropriate signatures, that'll be listed as well.
At least in a parentheses or something, because you don't know.
Yeah, we can
All
definitely
it
do that.
says is owner, and at the time it says owner, it doesn't say where. Which makes it even more intriguing, because you don't know.
Absolutely, we can definitely make that.
If you would, I'd appreciate that.
Absolutely.
But we're seeking. Are we seeking a motion though?
Yes, please.
I have a quick question. How are they maintaining the stormwater? Aren't they building edge to edge? Are they gonna have retention ponds or collect stormwater underneath? What are?
They have underneath retention, the site is very narrow, if you recall.
They're edge to edge, right?
So they have, the engineers have went through the process. They have the underground retention. I'll let Mr. Chen, if he wants to make any more comments about the technical side of things, because that is not my expertise. But they went through all of those designs, and they've had to have permitting even from the county level. That's actually held up a lot of their process because that was unexpected. And an extra layer of approval they didn't anticipate.
So how are we wording this? So say for my clarification, I assume a motion authorizing the mayor and or administrator to enter into the stormwater agreement. So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Stoner. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Yeah.
Mr. Chapman?
Yes.
Mr. Chapman, sorry, Ms. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner? Yes. Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Thank you, council. The next item is water wastewater capacity charge, and this is related to tap fees. Would you like to speak to it?
Yeah, our current tap fee was adopted in 2002. It's been 20-something years. We are very low in comparison with other municipalities. So we need to bring up the tap fee to today's level. In essence, what the current rate is, we're losing money. Because the developers, they pay less here than other municipalities. So we just want to be comparable with other municipalities. And that's the whole reason we're asking this to be drafted by the solicitor for your consideration.
The other thing I'll say is this is one of the few things that would actually not impact folks already living in the village. So this is one of the few times that, you know, it's not going to show up on our residents bill as an additional burden. This would be something, it's an entry fee, basically. So new development would be asked to contribute more to help offset their expenses related to the infrastructure. The residents have already paid for all this infrastructure, and so this is a chance for the new entry to help cover some of that cost that already exists.
Mayor, for my understanding, has this been before council in terms of combined committee? Are we looking for a specific
Yes, it
new
went before,
schedule?
it went before the combined committee, yes, yes.
And it went in the individual committee as well, right? Then we have a water wastewater where we talked about this.
Yeah.
Yes, water, wastewater, so that's right.
And so we've already come up with the fees and everything.
Yes, based on the inflation factors. Yes,
So you're looking for a motion to draft legislation?
yes.
I do that. Water, wastewater capacity.
Well, that escalated quickly. It went from so moved to I do.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we have a motion from Councilmember Chapman and a second from Councilmember Nauer. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner,
Yes.
Mr. Wold,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. The next item is creating a source water protection and assessment committee.
I touched upon this at the last combined committee because all the public water system will need to develop the water protection as an assessment plan based on Ohio EPA regulations. The current protection plan was the entire state. So Ohio EPA is mandated all the public water needs to have its own assessment plan. Part of that is we need to look at what are the challenges, what are the potential pollution that we may encounter within the well field. The other part is how we educate the general public, the businesses, about the water source. So this is a committee that we have to have, and we need to submit this at the final source water assessment and protection plan to the Ohio EPA. So we can become what they call the approved city, which would allow us to be better off in terms of applying for different fundings. So I'm asking council to direct solicitor to draft legislation, create this committee. And I've talked to the water and wastewater committee about this topic as well.
How many people, and is it all council members or residents, or who is this committee?
Right now, my thought process is going to be the water and wastewater committee will be the core. And then we would invite the school, maybe the soil and water, and the general public to be on this committee. So as long as it's an even number of members.
And I move for the solicitor to draft legislation to assemble the source water protection and assessment committee.
I'll second. Thank you, Council. Thank you. We have a motion from Councilmember Carpenter and a second from Councilmember Stoner. Discussion? Roll call, please.
Porter,
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman,
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mr. Wold,
Yes.
Mrs. Stoner.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter. Yes.
Thank you, Council. Next item on the agenda is the administrator's report.
I just have two items. First one was the Ohio EPA came to the water treatment plant to conduct the sanitary survey. Originally, they scheduled 2 days. I think it went so well, they finished in 1 day. And they're gonna find something to write about it, but
Sure.
overall, the assessment was very good. The second thing was the public works are going through the signage adjustment. They're supposed to have the high street speed limit, South High Street speed limit sign to be consistent both direction, 25 feet coming in, 25 feet leaving out. And then they also have tune up all the equipment just for the winter. So they have done that proper work already. That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I see where they're doing restriping Main. Are they gonna do High Street too?
That's ODOT, so we will have to find that out. The High Street, we did the striping. So the Main Street is definitely ODOT.
Yeah, I know they are doing, I seen them out there yesterday. I think it was.
It's fine.
I think next time we decide to strike, the village decide to strike, we ought to get a company to
Understand,
do it.
understand.
It's,
We had some irregularity. Let me just put it this way.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is council member reports. If we could start with Council President Wolf.
The only thing I had was yesterday, I went to the VFW down in Baltimore, and Troy Balderson was there, and it was just a general. What can we do for the veterans, or what your gripes and complaints or whatever, and really wasn't a lot that one person brought up had to do with data centers going in and the use of all this water and all this electric and things along that line, and I kind of told what we we're up to with the water situation about it's not as bad as what we had thought it was initially gonna be, where they've got the option of using gray water, and they got the option of having a coolant in there and all. But the other one was about the amount of electricity that they use, energy for that. And Mr. Balderson brought up that they're looking into that now about providing more, I guess, nuclear plants or whatever needs to be to power what's going on in Central Ohio. And he's brought up one of the reasons that they're building so much in Central Ohio is that we have quite a bit of natural gas that even Texas doesn't even have. And they're running these power plants on natural gas more so. So I look for a lot of infrastructure on that to get updated around here. Basically, that's all I got.
Thank you, and thank you for going to that. Councilmember Stoner? I do not have anything. All right, Councilmember Carpenter?
I have a request for the use of the village property down in the center of the village for the December holiday season for live activity. Specifically, the dates of 11 through 13.
And we've done that historically.
So
Okay. Any questions about that? Can I get a motion for that?
Make a motion, what was it for?
live activity holiday celebration, yes.
Yeah, for the Nazarene Church to have access to the village property.
To do the nativity?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll second. Thank you. So I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Councilmember Chapman. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Carpenter?
I abstain, I'm involved.
Mrs. Stoner?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Noor?
yes,
Mrs. Chapman?
Yes.
Mrs. Porter?
Yes.
Thank you, council. And thank you for doing that. I know a lot of residents look forward to that each year. Councilmember Noor? Thank you. Councilmember Chapman?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Councilmember Porter?
The only thing that I have is, to do a broadside compliment to the village and its employees, because there are things happening in the village that years ago we didn't even think about. And there's a lot of unusual, unique things happening, and I think we keep at this, we're gonna be known. As in addition to what we already are, but there's a lot of things happening, and I appreciate it. And I don't mind the traffic for 2 hours at all. I stay home, it's easier. But it's pleasant to see people doing what they're doing. And I appreciate that, because you just don't have a festival without involving all your employees. And they have to be cooperative, and I think that, we've achieved that, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. I will say I'm incredibly proud of the work that the staff has done. But I'm also really thankful to council for supporting it, and not just with votes, but also showing up and talking to their neighbors and just encouraging participation in general. It makes no sense to do this work if people aren't going to take advantage of it and spend time with their neighbors. So that's why we're doing it. So thank you so much. Okay, the next item is mayor's report. I haven't done one for a month, so I'm going to try to keep this really short and sweet. I just want to make you aware of some concerns that my team is working diligently on. The Lake Forest path connecting the cul-de-sac to Main Street. The team has spent an incredible amount of time and effort in communicating with concerned residents in Worcester, talking with the HOA, talking with Pulte, trying to find the least terrible option. That's what a lot of these things are, is trying to find the option that the most people can live with. And so finally, we've gotten to a point where I think we're all at least okay. I don't think that Worcester residents are super, super excited, but once they really understood the impact of the options, I think they can live with where we are. So that's a blessing.
I came home from work tonight and there was kids riding their bike up and down. I'm sure they were having a blast.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. Also parking, I have, and my team has been talking to, different folks who are concerned about the downtown parking situation. I'd say we've probably talked to almost half of the business owners. There's some feedback based off of the original legislation that we passed. And if you remember, I said at the time, we may need to make another pass of this, right? So we've talked about the hours. There are some concerns on the hours that we might want to cinch up a little bit of that, and also which days that we're doing this. So I just want to warn council that we will be coming back to talk about this. It will be on a combined committee's agenda. And between now and then, I will do my absolute best to speak to each of those business owners so that we can try to, again, find the least terrible option for folks. But I do appreciate council being willing to revisit this. And the other thing I want to say, I said this earlier to somebody, just because we make a decision doesn't mean it's going to last in perpetuity, right? So we're trying to find the option that works best for the folks that we have there right now and the folks that we want to bring in. But that doesn't mean that in 5 years, you're not going to have to revisit it again. I want us to be dynamic. I want us to be responsive to these businesses and these residents that we have, so that we can continue to evolve to offer the things that they want and they would enjoy in their community. So thank you for your patience on that. The next thing I want to say is we will also be talking about Lake Forest parking. There's no doubt about that. So we're trying to find, again, the least terrible option. I got an earful today. The resident was honestly, I think, just thrilled that somebody listened to their concerns. But we will be talking about that imminently as well, given some concerns about fender benders and children, with folks driving rather quickly through that area and not being able to see kids when there are cars on both sides of the road. At the end of September, that's how long it's been since I've given an update. At the end of September, we in the village offices were able to host previous mayor, McFarland, previous mayor Layton, and we had a surprise visit from former mayor Epley. And he was the mayor, I believe, from 1990, I wanted to say 2 to 96. He now lives in Florida, and we had a fantastic little chat in the, little, room right there, coffee, donuts. I tried to get old timer stories. That's my literal favorite thing. I got a couple of those. Mr. Epley brought his, parents with him and his dog, which I was super excited about. And, we really did have a lovely visit, and I have a photo if anybody would like to see that. And then the last thing I wanted to share is, the PowerPoint that I used in our combined committees meeting, this past week. I, created one at home with better audio and also better visual because these slides weren't so small, tiny print to read. And it's about 6 minutes. I put it out on my mayor page, it's out on the village page, it's also on the community page, and it's had almost 600 views. So my hope is, regardless of how they vote, I'm hoping that they have information about what they're actually choosing and why it's important that they're at least considering this issue and that they show up and vote. So hopefully we will have at least an educated voters going, yes, exactly, going to the polls, and they can make an informed decision. And honestly, that's the best thing that I can hope for at this point. That is my mayor's report. So now we are back to visitors' comments. And this is the second time we have reserved on the agenda to hear comments from visitors. Anything?
I don't know why you're all looking at me.
Because you're our only visitor, yes.
When I'm good.
Okay, well, I just want to make sure I'm giving you an opportunity.
Can I add something to your
Please do.
report? On the Lake Forest parking, did anybody talk to the post office? Because if you throw everybody to one side of the street, then
That's funny. The resident I spoke to today, he was talking about the implications for his mailbox. So I said to him, I think we're just gonna have to get a few folks in the room and just hash it out. Have them leave their baggage at the door if we can, right? Like, and I said, I'm going to say, we are looking for the least terrible option, right? So folks are gonna probably not love the outcome, but if we can find one that folks can live with, that's what we're really looking forward to. So thank you for mentioning that, but I do think it's on the radar. Yeah, but that's a great point. Thank you. The next item is, unless otherwise noted, it's understood council members have reviewed the expense report provided and have no questions. And then the last thing, I just want to draw your eye to the meeting schedule. Also on October 26th, Chief, is it correct that we're doing a drug take back that day?
that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And that's in the morning, yes?
10 to 2.
Thank you. Also, the comp plan is on October 29th. On November 4th, in addition to the planning and zoning, we have an economic community development committee meeting. And then my last question is council. We are currently slated to have a council meeting on November 27th, which is the Wednesday evening before Thanksgiving. I was wondering if council would entertain moving that to Tuesday evening to allow folks to leave at a reasonable time on Wednesday to spend time with their family.
Would it be possible to combine the 20th and the 27th together to make the combined and the regular council meeting just at one time?
That sounds like some fancy footwork. I don't know. I guess that would just be a council meeting where we would add any agenda items. I'm sorry.
But doesn't Deb have to have, at least 2 meetings in November to pass the, that material that goes to the auditor? So you need 2 meetings somewhere along the
Well, we
line.
could pass and we could put it in as
That's what
a.
he's saying, make.
We could make it stretch to the first meeting in December, but that's cutting it close.
Yeah, that's
Right,
correct.
but I mean-
In case somebody gets sick or
Yeah,
we
it's
don't
too
have
close for me.
enough.
I think that Council President Wolf is asking that on the 20th is when we
You have
hold
two.
our second council meeting.
So we would have one on the 13th and one on the
Correct.
20th.
That's my
You
understanding.
would have her combined and then we adjourn and then go into a regular council meeting. Or we can combine them, it doesn't matter. we would be able to vote on whatever you wanted to on that, by making it a council meeting.
It'd be great if our solicitor gave opinion on this.
Certainly up to the council, they can schedule it, it'd be a special meeting in lieu of the regular meeting on the 27th.
Or I'm good with the 26th either too, it doesn't matter.
Is anyone unable to attend on the 26th?
I am unable to attend on the 27th.
So I pick up a council member if I move it to the 26th.
Yes.
Well, it sounds like it's a party for the
At
26th.
this point, I think I like that part. I can do either one,
Okay.
or will do, let's put it that way, to move things around so I can do.
So can I get a motion to move the 27th, the council meeting scheduled for the 27th to the 26th?
I'll second.
Was that Wolf? Okay, so I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Carpenter to move the 27th council meeting to the 26th at 6 p.m.
Would that work for you? I mean, that'd be okay, that's kind of close too, but it would work.
While we're at it, we're also at the schedule for the 25th
Oh,
of December.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
at December.
We've got a motion, let's wrap, no, we're good, I won't forget you. Can I get a roll call on that?
Mr. Wolf.
yes,
Are we back to the November one?
Yes.
Okay.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yeah,
And thank you, Councilmember Chapman, who pointed out the 25th of December is another meeting that we have scheduled. My first question to my team is, do we need a second meeting in December?
At this point.
I can't
At
think
this
of any.
point, as long
at
as
this point.
I think we'd even be okay for the pay ordinance as well, because we'd still have a meeting in that first week of January.
But we have legislation 2 reads in November and the first one in December, right?
but we could waive that at any time, correct? So,
If we needed to.
if we need,
So do I have a motion to remove from our calendar the second meeting in December on the 25th?
so we're just simply canceling, we're not.
Correct.
rescheduling.
so move.
Second.
I have a motion from Council President Wolf and a second from Council Member Chapman to remove the second meeting in December, previously scheduled for the 25th of December. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nauer.
Yes.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Mr. Wolf.
Yes,
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes. Thank you, council, and I am seeking a motion to adjourn at 7:22.
So move.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Wolf.
yes.
Mrs. Stone.
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mr. Nauer.
Yeah.
Mrs. Chapman.
Yes.
Mrs. Porter.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Have a lovely evening.